for tuning in to Born to Ride TV, the longest-running biker TV show in the world. This week,
it's show 1338, and we're celebrating 16 years of history at Charlotte's Webb, the real biker destination, as we get ready for Charlotte's 16-year anniversary party. We look back at her famous Marty Party with West Coast Florida riders. And a special thank you to lawfran.com for sponsoring this great event.
all this and more here on Born to Ride.
If Instagram is your thing, we're there. We're everywhere. Follow us at #Born to Ride Motorcycle Media, your #1 motorcycle resource.
Born to Ride is brought to you in part by 866 Law Fran. Ride safe, ride smart. Offices in Palm Harbor.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
I'm Kevin Mack from Counting Cars on the History Channel.
I'm Danny, a.k.a. the Count Coker, and you are watching Born to Ride TV. Stay tuned! Woo! Oh, yeah.
The 8th annual all-female ride with riders from North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida was held Saturday, April 2nd, and hosted by Adamak Harley-Davidson in Jacksonville, Florida. Spearheaded by Jen Brew and Cheery Brown, the weekend-long event started out Thursday, March 31st with a crab dinner meet and greet, and continued through the weekend, concluding with a breakfast and departure prayer on Sunday. The purpose of the all-female ride is to continue to build a bridge of support for women motorcyclists, to ensure safety and provide resources to intermediate and seasoned riders. The goal is to exchange life experiences and create a path that others may travel in the near future. By connecting with other women from state to state and feeding off of positive motivation, they build an awesome networking system for women of all walks of life. Motorcycling brings peace, relaxation of the mind, and takes us to a tranquil place. Riding builds courage within oneself that no one can take away. Riding to unfamiliar places, new relationships, while building bridges of friendship across the country. Together, those friendships build a nation of strong, confident women. This featured bike event is provided by attorney Fran Haasch, supporting bikers and charities in our community for over 20 years. Call 866-LAW-FRAN or visit lawfran.com.
World's only motorcycle rally on a cruise ship. Free drinks and 13 months to pay. And it sails October 29th through November 5th, 2022. $100 discount per cabin. Use promo code BTR. For more info, go to highseasrally.com. That's the High Seas Rally, October 29th through November 5th, 2022. Don't miss the High Seas Rally.
West Coast Florida Riders just rolled in with about 60 bikes. It's a beautiful day out here at Charlotte's Webb. Get out here and get you a cold one and enjoy the day. They got vendors set up, Born to Rides out here. It's gonna be a great time, come on out. So we had about a 70-mile ride to get here, and we did the Tail of the Gecko and curves and everything, man. It was amazing. So we had a beautiful, beautiful ride this morning getting here, so it was awesome. So before we did the ride, we all met for breakfast at Popey's Port Manatee, and just you're right, the fellowship and the community there between everybody in the group is just amazing. So if you haven't heard of West Coast Florida Riders, look us up on Facebook. We're social media based. Request to join, get in here, get in part with the group and do the rides and do the events. We got bike nights, we got rides like this, one-off events. It's an amazing time. I promise you, you have a good time. Get in the group, get involved. If you live in Florida and you ride a motorcycle or a three-wheeler, come on out. You're welcome. She is one of our biggest supporters. She is awesome. She's been helping motorcycle victims in the Tampa Bay area for over 20 years. So she is a huge supporter of this community. She's awesome. Love it. Her and her whole team are some of the most authentic and real people that I've ever met in my life, and generous till the day is long. I mean, they're amazing people. They really are. Ain't no party like a West Coast party.
I'll stay on you and I'll pull back. 3, 2, 1.
WCFR, ain't no party like a West Coast party.
Don't miss the Charlotte's Web 16th anniversary party, Saturday, April 16th. The real deal biker destination.
Riding out into the open air. The wind rushes over your helmet. Vibrations trigger your adrenaline. Fragments of color catch your eye. Your senses embrace the power of the journey. Welcome to my world. What's yours? Your ride, your pace, your story. Let's ride this May in Tallahassee.
Don't miss the Born to Ride, Ride-In Bike Show, and Biker Brunch at the Marriott AC Hotel Resort, Sunday, May 15th. Plus, Born to Ride TV taping and magazine shoot.
Wildwood Antique Mall's 3 amazing locations in Florida to find your treasures. Vero Beach, Eustis, Wildwood. More than just antiques, tons of rare collectibles, toys, books, vintage furniture, records, jewelry, and so much more. Open 7 days a week. Great staff, clean, and air-conditioned. A great shopping pleasure for the whole family. Put it on your bucket list because it's a must-see at these 3 locations. For more information, wildwoodantiquemalls.com.
It's the Marty Party.
Hey guys, how are you? It's Brian from the Fran Haasch Law Group. We're out here at Charlotte's Webb for the Marty Party going on today. You know, this has become an annual event. We have bikers from all over the United States here today. There's all kinds of vendors, probably 20, 25 vendors that are set up out here. You know, you've got Born to Ride and Ron Galetti's out here. They're doing their bike show here today, guys. There's some beautiful bikes in here today. I keep sitting here watching the different bikes, some antique bikes coming in, some customs coming in. It's absolutely cool. You know, you got Tommy Rocks on the Fran Haasch music stage today. We're going to be here till 5 o'clock. Charlotte and all of her crew are out here. Make sure you have a great time. You need to come out, have a great time, enjoy some of the great food, meet some really cool people, stop by the Born to Ride tent, and get into the bike show. This place is packed. We had a group come in with over 100 riders on it, WCFR. West Coast Florida riders rolled in, and they came in force, guys. So there's a ton of people here. I've met people from Indiana, I've met people from Iowa today, all the way down south. So, you know, come out, meet some new friends. It's Brian from Fran Haasch, 866-LAW-FRAN or lawfran.com. She's always here if you guys need her. Have a great day.
Don't miss the Charlotte's Webb 16th anniversary party, Saturday, April 16th. The real deal biker destination. Stay connected with Born to Ride Media. Like and share with your friends on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Let us know you're out there. See more at borntoride.com.
Jeremy Brer. I own Fidelis Automotive, located in Valrico, Florida. We specialize in American and Japanese. European, I can get through them, we can get by them, but my main focus and specialized skill set is Toyota, Lexus, Acura, Honda, and all the Americans, Ford, Chevy. I started the repair shop back in 2012, formerly Fidelis Automotive Services of Tampa. I ran it from 2012 to 2015. This I did after I got out of the Marine Corps. I served from 2007 to 2011, Afghan campaign in Marj, Afghanistan. Now I work on everything from your sports car all the way out to your lifted trucks.
No such thing as a ride too long. No bridge that I won't cross. That need to ride, man, it feels so strong. I just get out and get lost. It doesn't matter where we go, a bike fest or a watering hole, the earth below and the sky above. I gotta do what I love, 'cause I was born to ride, I was born to ride. I'm cruising down the highway, got my brothers by my side. I was born to ride, I was born to ride. It ain't the destination, baby. I was born to ride, I was born to ride. I'm cruising down the highway, got my brothers by my side. I was born to ride.
Don't miss the Charlotte's Webb 16th anniversary party, Saturday, April 16th. The Real Deal Biker Destination.
Riding out into the open air. The wind rushes over your helmet. Vibrations trigger your adrenaline. Fragments of color catch your eye. Your senses embrace the power of the journey. Welcome to my world. What's yours? Your ride, your pace, your story. Let's ride this May in Tallahassee.
Don't miss the Born to Ride, Ride-In Bike Show, and Biker Brunch at the Marriott AC Hotel Resort, Sunday, May 15th. Plus, Born to Ride TV taping and magazine shoot.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
If Instagram is your thing, we're there. We're everywhere. Follow us at #Born to Ride Motorcycle Media, your #1 motorcycle resource.
Stay connected with Born to Ride Media. Like and share with your friends on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Let us know you're out there. See more at borntoride.com.
Is your business becoming invisible? Create a great advertising relationship today with Born to Ride.
Born to Ride.
Thanks for tuning in to Born to Ride TV, the longest running biker TV show in the world. This week,
Today, we are celebrating Wheels Through Time Museum founder Dale Wachsler, a man who has impacted so many. Join us in his celebration and thank you to Wheels Through Time.
all this and more here on Born to Ride.
Born to Ride is brought to you in part by 866 Law Fran. Ride safe, ride smart. Offices in Palm Harbor.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
this is Willie, and you're watching Born to Ride TV. Right on.
And the way I got this motorcycle was one day when I had my bike shop, somebody called me up and said, I'm bringing an old bike. You take bikes on trade? Well, yeah, sure, bring it up. And I was on a Saturday morning, I was standing in the showroom looking out the window, and I see a pickup truck come in, and all I could see was this bike from here up. Wow. And I'm going, that looks like me. We made some kind of diligent trade, and you know, that's what I've done my whole life, is trade up, collect old bikes. Yeah. And I try to keep a lot of the good ones.
Dale was a one-man hurricane. When he set his mind to doing something, it got done.
You know, sometimes you feel like you get exhausted just being around him because he just never stops.
Follow me, I'll show you what we're going to do today.
The average person might think this is just some piece of junk. What I see is a lot of opportunities.
You know, a treasure hunter is always after the next treasure.
He was at the forefront of a lot of, you know, kind of thought processes in the old bike world. You know, he's one of the first guys to be really into originality, untampered with motorcycles, machines that had survived from barn finds to beautiful original paint, well-preserved stuff.
Walking swap meets with Dale. It was part social, part educational, and part just crazy. The people who would come up to him and talk to him at swap meets, people he'd known forever, all the stories you'd hear. But he was always the first one out there looking. And that speaks volumes about his personality. He was determined.
Dale Walksler worked all of his waking hours, again, fueled by his passion to get the job done. But we would come in, we would run the museum for 8 hours, we'd go out and have a dinner.
And then he would go, you hear that? It's a 36 knucklehead engine calling me. And out the door he'd go, and he'd be in the shop till midnight.
The first 7 years, I believe, that the museum was open, the museum ran 364 days a year.
And a lot of times, he was the only person in that museum. I mean, if anybody came in, he did everything. It was, he worked from dawn to dusk. He was there before I got there at 6:30, and he was there late at night working on motorcycles, probably most of the night.
His dedication to this project and this museum was 24 hours a day. And it was not uncommon for him to call me any time of the night and say, I just want to run an idea by you.
Well, last night was a late night in the back shop working on the 1924, 1925 FH Hill Climber, and today's a whole new day.
Introducing the 1937 Harley-Davidson Knucklehead. Starting with an all-original Knucklehead engine, cradled in a genuine 1937 chassis and front end, then finished in 1 year only Delphine blue, striped in teak red, and edged in gold. This 30-year collection of parts makes for the rarest raffle bike we've ever given away. Get your tickets for the 2022 Wheels Through Time raffle bike and help support the museum that runs.
World's only motorcycle rally on a cruise ship. Free drinks and 13 months to pay. And it sails October 29th through November 5th, 2022. $100 discount per cabin. Use promo code BTR. For more info, go to highseasrally.com. That's the High Seas Rally, October 29th through November 5th, 2022. Don't miss the High Seas Rally.
running this museum is really no different than running this motorcycle. You have to know what you're doing, but you really have to have the passion for it.
I think many who would be, watching this, seeing this, could appreciate Dale's gift for having a dream about something, even something audacious, and then actualizing it, by putting in the work.
For a guy that was always motivated towards forward progress, I think, his vision was kind of ever evolving as he would set a goal, a lofty one, and he would get there, oftentimes sooner than he thought he would, and then readjust and recalibrate and raise the bar a little more, and then shoot in that direction. His vision was a continual refinement with an overall goal of affecting and connecting with people, and he did that through motorcycles.
So many people walk through the door and they wonder how one person, even in 52 years, could put together a collection of this size, and it was because of that passion that Dale had.
I've spent over 40 years tracking down rare machines, memorabilia, and artifacts, but the real find here at Wheels Through Time is the history behind the machines.
It's staggering to think that he began by buying a Survey car in his youth, starting a small motorcycle shop, then getting the backing of his dad, buying this Harley-Davidson dealership, and being the youngest Harley-Davidson dealer ever, and then building it into this, again, world-class organization that serviced all kinds of folks from near and wide.
He recognized that beyond the dealership enterprise and what could be done with a dealership, there was a much broader, market for Dale's prowess in other American motorcycles and other American-made products, and his collection was already pretty amazing by then. He had a Wheels Through Time in Southern Illinois that was modest by comparison, but he was well on his way to, being a museum operator, curator when he was transitioning.
The growth of the museum from Mount Vernon to Maggie Valley is unparalleled. Mount Vernon, there was quite a few cars. Actually, Dale was a car collector, and he also liked old motorcycles, and it was a very worthy collection down in Mount Vernon, but it's nothing like it is at Wheels Through Time Museum today. It is phenomenal. I don't know, there's maybe bigger museums in the country, but there is none like Wheels Through Time Museum that has the bikes sitting out where you can walk around them, sit on them, hear them run. It's the museum that runs.
He kind of redefined what a museum is. Historically, museums are pretty quiet places, kind of dull. Not a lot of excitement and energy happening inside the museum, and his vision for Wheels Through Time was very different.
I mean, the Smithsonian collection is magnificent, but it doesn't run.
Pat and Chris knew that at Wheels Through Time everything runs. There was no better place to see their machine come back to life. It's exactly what we do. Take old pieces of history and make them run.
Kind of a simple thing. Just kick it.
Making a digital presentation is nothing new for me. Over 10 years ago, I started with the Time Machine, and that parlayed into our hit television show, What's in the Barn on Velocity. By the way, that show airs all over the world today. I'm Dale Wachsler, and I dig deep into America's barns. There is layers of history in here. I'm a hunter and a gatherer, on the trail for unique and antique. Oh, that's it. Yesterday's junk is today's hidden treasure. How can the glass not be cracked? It's a 103-year-old windshield. Because sometimes you have to know what's in the barn.
Once he started What's in the Barn, all of a sudden the museum admissions were hundreds and hundreds of people, where before it was only maybe 10 or 20 a day. All of a sudden we had hundreds of people coming in.
And after that, he came back to us on the History Channel for season 7 of American Restoration. The great news about all that television exposure was the exposure that Dale was getting and the museum was getting was just staggering. And of course, Dale being Dale, he also augmented that with his, foray into the social media.
He was so ahead of the curve in so many different avenues. One of the things I look back on, he was doing streaming videos in 2004, 2005. This is before YouTube was even a thing. He was creating hundreds of videos, creating a library, because he saw the future of television and the future of connecting with people done through the internet. And he put immense amounts of energy into that, and it still is paying off today. His mission was really to keep Wheels Through Time in front of people, and he found a million ways to do it. There's things like the 24-hour runs and the coast-to-coast runs and the land speed record stuff that we all did with old bikes. He'd pour immense amount of thought and energy. Like the Fred Ham run, for example. We took a 1937 Harley-Davidson Knucklehead and rebroke, or attempted to rebreak, the 24-hour record that was set in 1937 on a really similar bike. It was done by a guy named Fred Ham. Immense amount of effort went into, restoring the bike, hundreds and hundreds of hours. Making the connection with Talladega, assembling the team to go down there and try and re-break this record, all with the mission and vision of keeping Wheels Through Time in front of people, and it proved incredibly successful.
So one day I get a phone call from Dale. He says, we're going to ride coast to coast. You in? I said, what are you talking about? He says, you in? I said, yeah, sure, I'm in. What are we talking about? He said, a group of us are going to get these old motorcycles. They have to be 1915 or older. And we're going to ride coast to coast. We all rode out on, most of us were on 1915 Harleys. And we rode from Kitty Hawk, North Carolina to Santa Monica, California. And he would live for stuff like this. And every day he'd be out riding, and every night he'd be in the parking lot wrenching. Seldom on his own bike.
Dale was rescuing everybody. He was so kind and thoughtful and helping everybody and trying to work on his own bike, but everybody was in his trailer looking for parts and advice, and he was pretty patient.
That was Dale Wachsler. Always willing to help anyone and everyone on their bikes, never expecting anything in return, and then moving on to the next one. He was a force of nature in the vintage motorcycle world.
Riding out into the open air. The wind rushes over your helmet. Vibrations trigger your adrenaline. Fragments of color catch your eye. Your senses embrace the power of the journey. Welcome to my world. What's yours? Your ride, your pace, your story. Let's ride this May in Tallahassee.
Wildwood Antique Mall's 3 amazing locations in Florida to find your treasures. Vero Beach, Eustis, Wildwood. More than just antiques, tons of rare collectibles, toys, books, vintage furniture, records, jewelry, and so much more. Open 7 days a week. Great staff, clean and air conditioned. A great shopping pleasure for the whole family. Put it on your bucket list because it's a must-see at these 3 locations. For more information, wildwoodantiquemalls.com.
There was nothing that he had that he didn't want to use.
Actually, the bike I'm going to do this on is about a $250,000 motorcycle.
People look around the museum and assume that motorcycles are what mattered most to Dale, and what really mattered most was people. He had this ability to relate to people and connect with people that is rare in this world, and most folks that knew Dale, or folks that had known him for 30 years, or folks that walked into the museum first time, ended up leaving feeling like they'd been friends for a long time, and he just had that effect on people.
He loved to know their personal stories. He liked to find out where they were from and what they did. And more importantly than anything, he made them feel welcome at Wheels Through Time and made everybody kind of unique in their experience who come to this museum.
He was a generous man, and not because he wanted people to know he was generous, but because that's who he is.
And some people would come in and never been here before, and he'd go out and welcome them and bring them on in for free. And that was a big deal to them. It's a really, really big deal. And he done that a whole lot. He done that a whole lot.
Dale had the heart of an underdog, and he was all about like sticking up for other underdogs. The thing about Dale is, even though he was like a little guy like I was, he was a pretty fearsome guy.
Dale would do things for people a lot of times without them even knowing. Numerous times we would go out to dinner, especially when we were traveling.
And Dale secretly calling the waitress aside on the way out and paying for their breakfast.
Every time I talked to him on the phone, he would say, is there anything that you need down here? He was always a giving person, always willing to help, always a compassionate, understanding man.
And he looked at me and he goes, "You don't have a motorcycle lift?" And I said, "No, man, I just get on my knees and I build it right here on the floor." And he didn't say anything else. So about a week later, when he came back to pick the bike up, he pulls up in that little old minivan and he goes, "Come here, Gerald, help me." And I walk out in the parking lot, and here he's got a motorcycle lift he took out of the back of his shop, loaded it in that van, and brought me a lift.
Still got it.
It seems about impossible to describe my dad in one word or phrase, but if I had to pick one, it would be one of a kind.
Totally one of a kind, and just in any direction.
Visionary. Dynamic.
What a dynamic personality. So full of energy.
Rambunctious.
The ultimate enthusiasm.
Dedicated.
Relentless.
Passion. I don't think I've ever known anybody that had as much passion as he did.
Successful. Confident.
Eccentric.
Extraordinary.
Amazing.
Sunny.
I mean, he had a sunny disposition. He had an infectious enthusiasm about him.
Generous.
Romantic.
Dedicated.
Visionary dreamer.
A great man.
Knowledgeable, kind, thoughtful. There's just too many. I can't.
There is no one word that describes Dale Wachsler. There couldn't possibly be one word to capture his beautiful, gigantic, outgoing, larger-than-life personality. There's just not one word.
When he first started collecting motorcycles, he had no idea what an impact he would have on the world.
I don't think that old motorcycles would be what they are today without Dale Wachsler.
Harley Davidson owes Dale big time.
I always consider him, one of my two greatest mentors. And, people kind of, as you go through life, kind of guide and direct you, and, things happen. And when it came to antique motorcycles, we were on the same page, and we had great mutual respect and admiration for each other. And he taught me a ton. Across the board. And
he would dive into the history and the mechanics and the context out of which an individual machine emerged. He could not give that information away fast enough to our guests, and to me for that matter.
He wanted to share the story of the American motorcycle with every visitor that walked through the door. Not just to build a collection so people would think of how great he was, but he wanted the history of these bikes to be relatable to the guy who's been in the motorcycle world for his entire life, to the person who's never seen an antique motorcycle until they walk in the doors of the museum. The passion that he poured into this place is not just visible, but it's really, in a sense, palpable. You can feel it when you walk in the door.
And he was one of the the smartest person that I've ever been around or ever met, which I've met a lot in the motorcycle business. And he had more knowledge of the motorcycle than anybody that I've ever known. He was like an encyclopedia. And he knew what part went everywhere. On top of being a genius, he was a good mechanic, a real good mechanic. So
I remember just watching him and just trying to stuff as much of Dale as I could in my brain. I always said, if you could just download a little bit of what you know into my brain, I would know so much about old motorcycles. And I think that's the thing about Dale.
He was a great connector. He would find objects and things and motorcycles, and when they were put together, they actually told the whole story. So he would find a racing motorcycle from one gentleman, and then, you know, in his collecting, he would then somehow come across the helmet that he had, articles on this particular fella, his old, you know, iron racing shoe. And so even though history had separated all these things, Dale was able to bring all these things back and put them together again.
Dale had a really great, uncanny knack of knowing. You could tell him, like, I needed a certain part, and 3, 4, 5 years later, he would remember it, and you know, it would show up. I remember telling him once, like, I needed a quadrant bolt for the rear freewheel clutch on my 1914, and like 3 years later, here this original one shows up in a blister pack, and like out of nowhere, you know, he just remembered that. I know someone. And so that always was like the coolest thing, because you could tell him something you never knew, but you know, at some point it was going to happen.
Just an incredible, contagious enthusiasm and a personality that just drew people to him. You know, I don't think there will ever be anybody else like him.
If Dale were here right now, I would say to Dale something that I told him many, many times, that yours is a life well lived.
All I can say is, well done.
Look at the foundation you've created.
A pretty incredible accomplishment, what you did here, and it affects people far beyond what I thought he ever dreamed that it would.
I know I wouldn't be the person I am today without this museum and the impact he personally had on me.
Thank you, Dale, for what you've done for me and what you've done for the motorcycle community worldwide.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
I love you.
Tell him how much I love him and how much I miss him.
How proud I am of you, and always will be, of the legacy that you built and what you left for the Wachsler family to continue on with, and for generations of our visitors to come that are going to be able to see what you created.
Hey, buddy.
Let's get to work. Let's get that thing running.
Thanks for being my friend.
How much I appreciate allowing me to be a part of this whole museum.
Let's go get Dad and take him for a ride.
Yeah, I'd tell him to lay a black mark about 50 feet through the building. And make a lot of noise.
He was good at that.
He enjoyed that.
God, I love that motorcycle. Thank you, everybody. That's it for the show.
Stay connected with Born to Ride Media. Like and share with your friends on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Let us know you're out there. See more at borntoride.com.
Jeremy Brer. I own Fidelis Automotive, located in Valrico, Florida. We specialize in American and Japanese. European, I can get through them, we can get by them, but my main focus and specialized skill set is Toyota, Lexus, Acura, Honda, and all the Americans, Ford, Chevy. I started the repair shop back in 2012, formerly Fidelis Automotive Services of Tampa. I ran it from 2012 to 2015. This I did after I got out of the Marine Corps. I served from 2007 and 2011, Afghan campaign in Marj, Afghanistan. Now I work on everything from your sports car all the way out to your lifted trucks.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
Is your business becoming invisible? Create a great advertising relationship today with Born to Ride.